Yeah, hello everyone and welcome back to the fourth installation of Chill and Draw. Today I'm just going to draw one piece for a contest on Pixiv called Hikari no Yose, or you can go with Yami no Yose, being either the fairy of light or the fairy of darkness. And fittingly, this character is also part of the SF world that I'm trying to create. So the whole theme here is having this very light, very shoujo-esque style with very bright colors, but at the same time put in some SF feeling into it. So going from there, I really wanted to have cooler colors rather than warmer colors, because I think that's more fitting if you think mechanical, futuristic. So I tried to put that into the color palette as well. I also tried a different kind of coloring style for this one because I don't want it to look 3D. I wanted to stay completely 2D. So the coloring process is also very simple and there aren't too many layers of shading, only 1, 2, 3 at most. Yeah, I really liked how it turned out in the end, but you will have to stay put for a while to see that. So now coming to a fun part of making a chill and draw rather than a tutorial. I can talk about animes again, yay! Every time I'm trying to talk about Shingeki no Kyojin, I'm getting speechless because of how well I think the story is built and how much I love the characters. One example for those who watch Shingeki no Kyojin, Raina's whole evolution from being a very much side character that I didn't care about to now being like, he's still not one of my favorite characters, but I find him really cool and I really like how he evolved. It makes so much sense to me and I love that story. And this will contain spoilers, so please don't listen to this if you haven't caught up to the most recent episode, please. His whole development from this person that we thought like, okay, this is the example soldier, right? He listens to commands, he's strong, he's big. And now we are left with a soldier who is suicidal after all the war, after all pain of losing people you care about that he went through and having to fight people that he used to call friends even though it was just a persona. I just find it so tragic but also so realistic when you look at how a lot of soldier stories go in real life, and that's the main compliment that I have for the whole show. Like, I love war movies and I love documentaries about what happened in the Second World War, but especially with the Second World War, a lot of the poetry that was also written for the respect and at the same time the coldness that soldiers received during the war and then afterwards, I find this so fascinating, because I think it's still a part of history that isn't really discussed realistically in a lot of ways. I mean, the Second World War comes up in a lot of stories in the West as well, a lot of comic stories in the West, and also in animes it comes up quite frequently as well. But a lot of times I find it to be very shallow. There is not really levels to it. It's just skin. There's no flesh to the story. And I find it very tragic because it's such a relevant part of our history, and I just find it fascinating how things evolved back then, the psychological strategies that a lot of people had back then to control what the public thought. I mean, especially in Germany, the propaganda that was done to essentially bring kids out there as soldiers just so they could activate landmines, or rather test the ground for landmines and then die. For me, Shingeki no Kyojin, I don't know how much the mangaka is well versed in the Second World War, but just by looking at the story itself, I think that he must have quite an interest in this matter to really represent the type of soldiers that you had back then so well. Not just having the example soldier like Raina, but also having someone like Armin, people, and even for the enemies. I mean, if you look at Gabi, I was really worried that maybe Gabi will be annoying because she's a little brat, and most of times when a little brat shows up right at the end, it gets annoying as fuck. But this time, not at all. Not at all. It's more so about her emotional baggage that she carries, and I really like that. I like that they didn't just make her the hero to our now antagonist Eren, but they gave her a proper story. That's inserting characters right at the end, done well, in my opinion. Done very, very well. Again, you can fuck up with that quite a bit if you right at the last fight introduce a new character, but this time, no, perfectly done in my opinion. And now coming to my most favorite evolved character from the whole show, Eren. Eren again started off as not the perfect soldier like Reiner, being strong, being big, listening to commands. No, Eren was a perfect soldier like a lot of kids were back then in the Hitlerjugend, because he was manipulated by propaganda and only thinking about the Titans as enemies, as they have eaten his mother obviously, but as long as he can take revenge for that, he will kill all of them, not thinking about the aspect of killing another living being. Just so easy really for other people to use, for Levi to use, for Evan to use. And I know some people would argue that no, Levi is nice and blah, blah, but no, Levi also capitalized on Eren's abilities and on his naivety, on his anger. But with this season, right now, with the last season, we now find out that Eren might not have been as helpless as I first thought. Because from one point, Eren started to be able to talk to his father in the past. And from then on, he triggered a lot of events. And this might be interpreting it falsely, but as far as I figure, Eren is the reason his mother was eaten. In a paradoxical way, of course, he gained the ability after all of that already happened, but because he pushed his father into a certain direction, he was able to inherit the Titan. And then, because he inherited his father's Titan, Reiner, Berthold and Annie came to take Eren. That was the reason the war was breached. They wanted Eren, and as a consequence of that, his mother was eaten. Eren could have changed the past. He could have done that so that his mother lived, but rather than trying to save his mother and stop himself, preventing himself from even going down this road, Eren chose to go deeper into hell, to create not only his own hell, but pull other people into it, be it anger, be it revenge, or now, as the last episode has shown, be it to protect everyone. He chose that road, and it's really interesting. But yeah, I just really love that, and Eren is one of the reasons why I keep recommending this show to anyone that I meet, because I really, really love it, and this has the potential of being one of my favorite animes, really. Looking at it all together, like from season 1 to the final season now, it does. I can't praise it enough. I really, really love it. Oh god damn it, but it's written so well, the word is split up so well. A lot of the things that you learn later on, if you look at the first few chapters, you see that there were already hints at that. And if you're cautious when you read the manga, you would have seen those hints. And I really love that sort of storytelling where the reader can puzzle together what's going to happen next. Really, really love it. If you haven't seen Shingeki yet, I highly, highly recommend you do. With that, the time has already flown over. I hope that I could discuss so much more, but that's as far as I have footage for this drawing. I hope you enjoyed me just rambling on about Shingeki no Kyojin, and I hope you enjoyed this drawing. It's already up on Pixiv if you want to see it up close. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Bye bye!